Hey guys, obviously you're about to enjoy a wonderful episode of Ask Iliza Anything, but if you want to enhance your entertainment experience, I encourage you, I'm asking you, I think you'd really like it, to head on over to YouTube and watch Ask Iliza Anything, as this is our first of many Ask Iliza Anything live shows. To see the video, go to my YouTube, linked in the show notes, and you will enjoy it on a whole new level. Also, I got my makeup done, and Emily is there. And we're really looking forward to you guys enjoying it and participating. And now, the show for your ears.
Ask me, ask Iliza anything. It's time to ask. Ask me all your questions. Leave them in the Instagram comment section. Leave them on your Twitter or leave them on your Facebook. We'll see them, we'll read them, then we'll give you answers. You know it, I've got it. I've got the answer. You ask me, I'll tell you anything.
The plan was I would run in and it would be like, oh my God, daytime TV. And the dog would follow. And she stopped in the hallway. Here, we're flying her in. See, Emily, less butthole, more dog. I heard her. She's going to be there. So none of you can sign up because she will lose her mind. No, it's fine. That's like the dirty secret about the dog. With me, as always, is my stalwart, intrepid companion, Emily Higgins.
I don't know if I've ever heard you say my last name. It really threw me off.
I don't know why I said your last name. I guess I want people to dox you. I don't know.
Yeah, find me.
Yeah. You gotta find me, and this is a fake VPN. But this is the podcast where you can write in all the things that you're afraid to ask everyone, and we will give you that red hot advice. And that's how this podcast goes, and we have this incredible audience. This is our first installment of this as a YouTube show. And we will be We will be extracting the audio. This also will be a podcast, but what?
Okay.
I'm in the middle of
You don't need
vamping.
to tell them every tech thing that we're going to do where the audio's good. Then we're going to upload it to Simplecast, and then I'm going to put in the metadata. Like, we don't have to go through.
Don't tell them who we're aligned with. And also, people are so technologically weird that they will have heard this as a podcast, watch this, and then they'll be like, how can I listen? And it's like, you already did.
I think when I upload the audio, I'm just going to cut all the parts where you say, I'm going to have Scott cut all the parts where you say, this is a YouTube show.
Don't you fucking do that, Scott. I dragged you up.
I do whatever she tells me to do.
Hot Scotty, everybody.
Hi.
In the sound booth.
Thank you. I'm here.
We were going to have a contest, a drawing contest to see. I'm going to watch this and be like, why didn't I sit back more?
Oh.
Too much.
Does my waist look thin?
Yeah.
We were going to have a
sitting
contest
upright.
to see if people could guess what Scotty looks like because he has such a hot voice. And so we thought we would have people submit like AI or like drawings. Like, what do you fantasize this man looks like? There are no wrong answers, by the way. We're not going to do that now. What?
We'll have them at the end of the show. You can just turn those into the back. Thank you.
To this police sketch artist. So we're going to kick it off with some of the questions. We have audience questions. We have audience members who are going to ask us questions. This is an interactive, safe space. But first, we like to start every show the way every woman likes to start every conversation, with a fight. And our fight meet comes from one of my best friends, everyone's favorite Jewish person. Mayim Bialik, everybody.
Okay, I think that there are only certain flavors of bagel that should be allowed in the universe. Meaning, if it makes a better something else, it's not allowed to be a bagel flavor. So, blueberry makes a better muffin. Chocolate chip makes a better cookie. Cinnamon makes a better cinnamon roll. So, the only flavors allowed of bagels are water. That's right, water, not plain. No such thing as a plain bagel. It's called a water bagel.
Yeah.
Water, egg, sesame, garlic, salt, maybe poppy seed. Everything is just like an anglicized bagel. But most importantly, those other flavors, they should not exist. They're not bagels. They shouldn't be called bagels. I find it offensive. So fight me.
Okay, a couple things. First of all, thank you, Mayim. If people didn't know she was Jewish before. As she was, first of all, I love how she's making her argument. And as she's doing it, I'm watching all of these Gentiles go like, she's got a point. Yeah, okay. And then as she's listing them, I heard some people like, come on. What flavor were you hoping she would say? Everything, me too. And then when she said it's just an anglicized, that I want to fight her on. Because I feel like everything is everything. Like, I feel like we're allowed, Emily is the least Jewish person in the world. And she's like, I just eat bagel bites.
But when I got this video from you, when this special celebrity cameo was delivered to me, I was so impressed by her thinking, which was, if it makes it better, something else. I was like, oh my God, that's so scientific and so true. We should apply that logic to more things.
Yeah. I think about how offensive it is as a Jew when people are like, I'll take a jalapeno cheddar. And you're like, you mean queso? You're just eating like cold, thick, solid queso. So no fight here except for the fact that she's got a weird issue with everything bagels. But thank you for being on the podcast, Mayim. That's our fight me. Please weigh in at home. Send us your comments. Try to keep them like less hate crimey. Yes. For those of you at home. And by the way, we do want this to be the companion piece, not only to the podcast, but to a companion to anyone washing their face and you need something to look at. We want this show to be that for you. So
You've
wipe
brought that
off your
up a
hands.
lot.
Comment below, like, I love a salt bagel, whatever. A water bagel.
I would love a hand raised from everybody who watches videos while washing their face, which has been your example 10 times out of 10.
I just feel like if I do it, the amount of times I scroll through, I'm like, I want to watch just a little bit, a light lift. Sometimes I'll watch on TikTok, like there are these like Asian women who sift through crystals and like fulfill orders.
Yes,
I'm part
the
of the
little
problem.
capsules.
And I'm like, I want like a rose quartz star.
A lot of people put these on while they're eating.
Should I make my, yeah? I listen to it. I've done that. I've done the lonely watch. I mean, people watch movies. You watch it I've been alone in a hotel and I'm like, I need a companion. That's what we are here. And no better way to make you feel seen and not alone than by listening to the problems of other people. And that's what Emily Higgins, who lives at 255. Emily has our first quandary.
Yeah, we took some questions from the audience. Not this audience. We'll get to you later.
Audience from another podcast.
Audience. Yeah. My friend, let's call her Amy, age 35, was recently broken up with in a very cruel way after 2 years. Her and her boyfriend, mid-30s, were living together in her house. He moved in with her only a few months into dating. He sold his home, packed everything up, and they had been together ever since. Though he never unpacked his shipping pod, it just sat in the driveway. That's an important piece. Are you taking notes, Iliza? Good. Okay.
He never had a home.
Okay. Well,
as someone who's been scammed, Scott, do we have a sound for I smell a rat?
I'll drop that in post.
He never had a home. The closest thing he had to a home was that shipping pod.
She thought things were going well. However, after a camping trip last weekend with his friends, he broke up with her. He told her he needed room to grow and she deserved a better guy and that he needed space. She tried to find a solution, such as suggesting he live in an attached apartment, but he insisted he had to move out the next day. Oh. So they've been living together like 2 years and he says, I have to move out tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, it turns out he had secretly purchased a house behind her back and was just waiting for the home to close before ending things. What makes it worse is that all his friends and family knew, meaning she was on vacation with people who knew what he was doing behind her back and that she was only days away from a surprise breakup. So now for the question. She ran to an old friend from high school recently, and this friend, male, mid-30s, just got divorced, and he's spending a lot of time with her to distract her from this situation. It's only been a few days since her life was turned upside down, and she wants to know if it's a good idea to just dive into hooking up with this returned friend.
Oh, yeah.
She hasn't known him since they were teens, but she wants a distraction badly. What's your take on getting over someone by getting under someone else?
Oh, that's
a real turn.
First of all, I don't think I've ever said this on the pod. I was dead wrong so fast right up top with the pod. This guy that she's sleeping with is friends with the guy.
So No, this
they
is
all
her
thought that too.
friend. No,
It wasn't just
totally
me.
unrelated. Everything else was just to set up that she was recently broken up with, and should she get over it by sleeping with a different guy she knows.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Who cares?
I want to talk
this
about
was
this
gonna
man and
be-
his house, though.
I'm sorry. Like, I thought this was going to be like, should she let him move in? The fact that this guy was like, I got to go. And she's like, could you stay in the attached above garage apartment? Whatever, if a guy did it, we'd be like, yeah, like man's got to eat. So whatever you need to do in the interim before you like resume your life, sometimes these are things girls got to eat too. Like these are things that we just have to do. And you're going to be the annoying friend that's like, don't sleep with him. She wants some affection and it's okay to use someone as a Band-Aid. She's the one with the house. She's the one that let a guy move in with her. If this guy asks to move in or she's trying to start a relationship, maybe you should give her some advice on that. But like, do you really care if she's having sex with some random dude? Nope. What woman has the bandwidth to care about that?
But I think you are partially right in that he didn't want to pay. He didn't want to pay rent on this place. So he didn't have a home and he just stayed with her until he could close. He was like in escrow at her house. Like, yeah. Let's make plans for Christmas.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that was right or wrong because it's not illegal. It's shitty. Cheating on someone isn't illegal. Like it's irrelevant how he treated her. That's not the question. The question is, should I allow my friend to sleep with a random dude who's being nice to her? Like, yeah. It doesn't matter what the guy did. It could have had a separate family. Like, that's not even a part of it. That has nothing to do with how she recovers from this. And then the caution to her should be just be careful of A, letting him move in, and B, like look for some of those warning signs because there's no way this guy, unless he's a total psychopath, which I would know something about, there's no way, watch Good on Paper, if you're a new fan to the show, there's no way that this guy was treating her completely perfectly. Like, I think in hindsight, she's going to look back and be like, oh, yeah, he didn't show up to Christmas. Oh, yeah, there were all these like lease papers all over the place. And I was like, great, more for my mache. Like, I think sometimes as women, we just get so blind to like the dangling idea of a relationship. And like this podcast runs on women being like, he has duct tape and a knife next to some, what is it? Not hyaluronic acid. What's the one that chloroform? Like, ooh, hyaluronic acid. I'm going to look so young when I'm dead. And so the answer is all you can do is be like, hey, be careful. But there's nothing for you to do. What was her question?
It was literally just, do you believe, what's your take on getting over someone by getting under someone else? And it sounds like in this particular situation, she knows this guy. Yeah, it's fine.
She's like, I brought him here. Of course, that's how the world works. If we were all healed adults who are just like, I'm going to wait until I'm mentally there to have sex with a person I deeply care about, like we would have, there'd be no condom industry. I almost said there'd be no STD industry. We don't want that. There'd be no anything. There'd be no podcast. There'd be no sexy clothes. There'd be no trying. There'd be no Friday night date. There'd be nothing if we were all fully formed people fucking responsibly. So glad you laughed when I yelled because that was going to fall so flat. If I just like screamed that. So that's it. Leave your friend alone. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah,
kudos to her for owning a home.
I know. Clap for this woman. Don't let people move into your nice home is the message.
This is the second person that I've heard about literally in 24 hours who's like a woman that owns something and like lets a guy moved in. This is the rare case where it's real rare. Where this guy, usually it's like he moved in because he was a lowlife that had nothing else. Rarely do you hear like he was doing so well that he was actually buying his own full home behind her back. So takes two to tango. Doesn't sound like a great relationship anyway. Right?
No.
I know it's weird that I'm not looking at you guys, but I want the viewer at home who I don't know is a fan yet. I already have you. I want to make sure that they feel connected. The producer said if you look at them, then they feel engaged. And normally we have chairs here, so it looks like I'm looking at them, but right over them, which is normally how I look at male comics. And so you are worthy, you are valuable, but I have to look this way. It's like the people that do the weather. You ever been to like where it's like this? There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We'll do one more short one. Hi, Iliza and Emily. I have a question about my in-laws. I'm 38 and I've been married to my husband, Andrew, 36 for 4 years. I love his family, but his mother is a hoarder. Andrew
I thought you were going
was
to say
too
something else.
Hoarder.
Like, wow, good for her. Okay.
Andrew and
Mother's a
his two
hoarder.
siblings have offered to pay to have someone clean and organize their home, but both of their parents have declined. Both parents work full-time and are in their 60s. They don't have the time to clean and organize. When we go to their house for holidays and visits, we stay in their remodeled basement, but even that has been taken over by his grandmother's things, who she just moved in. We currently have a 3-year-old and another baby due in March. We have our 3-year-old wear shoes the whole time we are at my in-laws, and I don't love the idea of having a baby in this environment. Is there a way to clean and organize their home without offending them or crossing boundaries? I have a good relationship with my in-laws and don't want to ruin it. However, their house is in desperate need of a clean organization. Thank you for all you do, Aaliyah.
I love that name. And
I might have said it wrong.
you're like, it's
Sorry.
spelled Lisa. Am I saying this? We've had a question like that on the podcast, and anyone here, I feel like Emily is like the memory of this show, but like you're like the Ram. I think we've had this before where there was a dirty house.
There have been some dirty houses.
Okay.
And some houses covered with pee from dogs in varying stages of diaper.
No, there was another one. Right. And I don't want to talk about the dog suspenders anymore.
But here's what I'll say. Previous ones, I believe our question askers have usually had a poor relationship with the in-laws. So this is just another problem. Right now, this question asker has a great relationship with them. So I think can approach it probably a little differently.
Okay. But this I will file under the category of a type of question we get a lot on this podcast, as the people here can attest to, which is your husband or your partner, your husband, Andrew, needs to be the one to say something because it's his parents. And it goes back to the advice that my own mother gave me on my wedding, which was don't get between them. You will be made to look like the bitch if you are the one that says something. And once again, we have the husband just like sitting pretty like, I don't know. Those are his kids too. That's his kids' hygiene as well. And it also filed under women drawing a boundary, A, as women, but B, as a mother. Like that is your child's health. Like something is going off in your brain because you're like, I'm in this filthy studio with all these mosquitoes. No, you're like, something is going off in your brain. You're like, this doesn't feel hygienic and safe. And I know as women, people get angry when we talk about how we don't feel safe, but the most precious thing in the world is your child's safety. And you are doing your job as a mother. If the kid can wear shoes, okay, but it has to be your husband talks to them and primes them, because it's going to hurt a hell of a lot less if it comes from the husband first. Because you don't want to get between, because then it'll be like, oh, well, she has a problem with our home. Well, maybe she shouldn't come and you can just come with the kids. And then you're cut out and no one's talking and your kids are still getting fucking tetanus from stepping on like an easy bake oven from the 60s that grandma brought. It's an illness. My husband and I both work. We're not hoarders. This idea that they don't have time and they don't see it. They also could just be, I almost said sight blind, as opposed to nose blind, like eye blind. They could be blind to it, which is why you have the son bring it up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people just, and if they're good people, they'll be like, okay, well, at least we'll let you pay for it, but you cannot endanger your child for the comfort of other people. Right? Right. So, sponsored by Lysol. They aren't our sponsor, but we sure would love it. Or any product.
Hoarding.
If you could
Not
monetize
any.
eucalyptus leaves, I don't care, just someone to pay for the studio. Mrs. Myers would be great.
You're shooting a little high with that.
I like the grapefruit one. Yeah, that Pine Sol lady, she wants to come around. Let's do an audience question. Let's get them involved. Let's look at them.
Let's look
We
at
have
them.
questions
Okay.
from our audience. Well, I was going to say the way that this YouTube show works is we have questions from all over the world. And because we like to reward people who made the schlep from Temecula or wherever you came from, we have our audience is going to stand up and you're going to read your question because you said you were game for it in the waiver that you signed. Let's get to it.
Well, they don't have to read it. They can just say it. But is there
Sometimes
a
it's better to have a prepared statement.
Stephanie A.
Stephanie A.
Yes. Okay. Please. Your question was nice and juicy seeming.
Right, thanks. Hi.
Hi.
Also, I did the fight me with the handshake, the women handshake.
That we shouldn't
a
shake hands.
classic.
It's so annoying. I actually have a friend who intervenes now and says she doesn't shake hands.
I just say I'm sick.
That's one thing.
Or
Sorry.
I give a light kiss. Toll booths, construction workers.
I'm going to try to do this succinctly. So
Okay, here's her question.
I joined a trip with my mother, her boyfriend, and their friends that are a couple. And the woman, we'll call her Stacy, was acting mercurial, a little ornery while we were the first few days. And so we're out to dinner. I'm sitting between my mother and Stacy. And this Stacy's on her phone, and we open up the menu. So I look to the left side of the menu, and her phone's like flashing
in
at me.
huge font because it's your mom's friend.
That's exactly right. And I see her writing that my mother is acting selfish. Oh no, what did I say? And she's like horrible and selfish.
Yeah,
Selfish and rude.
Was it rude?
That's it. Selfish and rude.
It was rude.
Thank you.
I read the question.
Which is thank you. You remember.
I read it.
It's only my story. It's okay. Yeah. So I whispered to my mother because we were both kind of talking about why this one was acting so weird this whole time. And I told her what Stacy was writing or what Stacy wrote. And then I sat for a few minutes, and I don't get mad like I used to, but it was
What was that?
cooking.
What's that? Because I hear an East Coast accent. So like, what's like, is it like Teresa Giudice, like prostitution hot? Like, is it flip a table mad?
My hormones are a little bit more
Okay.
under control now. They're under control now.
Okay,
but
okay.
Before they weren't. But I was seething, and really, it really was bothering me. So I sort of said, a little passive aggressively, like this is that was. Oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't even just say passive aggressively. I actually addressed her. It was pretty aggressive. I said to Stacy, I saw what you wrote, and I think that's kind of mean.
Did you lean over and say it, or did you wait till like she got up?
No, I turned, she was on my left. So I said to her, I said, by the way, I saw what you wrote about my mother, and I think that's mean, and also to do it right now. We're sitting right here. And her only response was, did you tell your mother? And I said, yeah, she's my mother. So
You work so quickly. So stealth.
my mother likes to squash, as she said, oh, it's okay. She said, don't worry about it at all, Stacy. I don't care.
Yeah.
But Stacy flipped out on me.
Just then.
How could you? How could you do that? So would you have said something? It was my question. Would you have said something to her?
How close are you to Stacy?
Not very.
Well, I get would I have or should you have is what your question.
Well, that's pretty much should I have?
I guess it would depend on the relationship of my mother with this woman, and if it was like my mom's best friend, I might feel. I don't know that I'd say something to the woman unless I had prior knowledge to like maybe what they were talking about. But when it comes to like old lady beef, like you don't know, which is a porn category. Emily's like, my favorite film category. You kind of just never know, and that's so uncomfortable because like they're the daughter and you're there. You took up for your mom, but you don't know if your mom was like, what if she was secretly being a giant bee to that woman before, and then you look crazy. I would just always, unless I knew exactly what was going on, it would be hard for me to intervene or care about what had happened.
No, my mother's the most passive person in the world, and also likes to not like make everything nice. Don't worry, and she's definitely not confrontational, nor is she.
Which would make it even more delicious if your mom was just secretly
like kind of knowing
awful, and you're like, she's the sweetest woman, and she's like, that's right, officer, couldn't have been me. But I understand the instinct to protect your mom. Like, she's your mom, she's the sweetest woman ever, and even if she isn't, like, we all know what it's like to have something said horribly about us or in a comment section to us. Like, it's a pretty bad feeling. I guess I wouldn't have said anything to the friend, but I would have told my mom, and then I would have scooted my chair out from the table, pushed them together, and I would have just gone to the bathroom for a very long time.
I made the trip so awkward for the next few days after that.
And you were on a trip. You got to be Italian. Are you Italian?
No,
Jewish? Okay. Either way, you were like, I did that. Now you do it. And you stayed on. And in the end, was it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, no, we're still looking for the body. Okay.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for writing in. Thank you for coming here. I respect that you stood up for your mother.
I love that there was an actual confrontation because I feel like so many people just are like, oh, I don't know, I'll talk about it later. But if I was texting about someone who's at the same table, which I do 100% all the time,
Yeah.
and then they
that.
saw and turned to me and said something, my blood would run so
They
cold.
just turn. You would make an
Like,
excellent Real
I
Housewife.
saw what you text.
Because there'd be no
But like
drama. It would just be
the
done.
good ones.
The good one. Yeah,
Right.
not like a bad one. You'd make an excellent drunk. Like, no.
No, like the ones that keep it going. The
That
ones that
feeling?
keep order.
Yeah. Yes. Like one of the queens. That feeling,
it-
or when you text someone about them and it goes
It's
to
the wrong
them.
person. You can feel, and to go back, I'll go back and make sure, because I talk a lot of shit, and I'll go back and make sure I didn't send it to the person like 6
Yes.
times. Like I didn't send it to them, right? They weren't copied on this
Yeah.
email, right?
You go back 6 times, and on the 6th time, you're like, oops, it was them. Like you check it. I've had that. I've sent the email to the wrong person even after we squashed it. And I was like, okay, we can totally do this. And then I sent an email to the team being like, they're not into it. I don't want to do it. And they saw it. And I was like, well, this is how I really feel.
You handled that pretty well. I was on that. There was a situation like that where I was CC'd as well, and I feel like you handled it very gracefully. I just
own it.
lie.
You just gotta
I'm
be
just
like, well,
I'm
you're a
talking about
bitch.
different.
Yeah.
No,
You got to just own it. And you would lie.
I was
and go hide.
texting someone else I hate about another person with the same name.
I had it happen once. I had like dated someone and then like we broke up, but we were all like with a friend group out, and I texted, he's sitting right across from me, and I sent it to him. And he sent the screen grab of what I said back to me, and I just looked, it was so cinematic, and he just looked at me. And I was like, are we getting chips? Or like, we're still gonna have sex after this, right? Totally. But
Have you ever confronted someone about something? Like, would you turn to someone and say, hey, I see what you're saying about me. It's rude.
it would really depend. Because there's rude and then there's libel. Like there's just like, there's varying levels. But it's also delicious to know like what someone really thinks of you. And then maybe like I acting like I'm Machiavellian about it. I couldn't. I would just probably avoid that person forever and then get on my podcast and change the name and be like, I was sitting at lunch and guess what happened. Okay. On to the problems of other people, because that is truly what this podcast runs on, us escaping from the problems of our lives by delving into the problems of others' lives.
Did you want more problems or did you want a confession?
I have a video I made to intro the confession
I'm gonna
segment.
I'm gonna share it
The
with
budget
the
on this
people.
video, it was extensive. Let's roll confessions. Thank you. Thank you.
I deliver pizza for a little neighborhood joint called Domino's, King of Queens reference if you didn't know. Being a single mom of 3 kids, I heavily rely on my tips. So it's extremely disheartening when I deliver a $65 order and there's no tip. The other 9 out of 14 orders, 9 of them didn't tip me. I've taken the time to put all your sides together, bring it to your door in a timely manner, maybe even put you before other people because you had a large order, only to discover that they've prepaid, it's contactless, and there's no tip, so no chance of getting one written in. In this case, I found myself vigorously shaking the bags that contained soda as I speed walked with my arms or skipped the door and sweetly picture the surprise as they open it to choke down their cheap dinner. If the customer doesn't have any soda, then I may have been known to separate all of their items at the door into different locations on their porch, by laying out each sauce packet, pizza box, etc., so as not to make it convenient for them to bend over multiple times to collect their food. They've left complaints about this, but no one followed up with me, so I slid under the radar on that one. The other day, I witnessed a coworker shaking a bag vigorously that contained a small pizza before she put it in her car. Contactless, I asked her. Yup, it's enough extravaganza, so all their toppings are flying off, she exclaimed. This is what happens if you don't tip your servers. Iliza, I thought you'd get a kick out of our sweet little Tipless Revenge story. If you have any other suggestions on how to make it more difficult for the customer that doesn't appreciate us bringing their food to their door, I am open.
As that customer, I'm not going to arm you. No, with ideas. First of all, when she said, as a woman, I rely on my tips, we were like, here's the issue. And this is a confession. She didn't ask for advice, and I'm thankful for that because I'm like,
She did at the end.
What'd she say? I was too busy thinking
Well,
about
she
my
asked
joke.
for advice of how more ways to mess with people.
I don't have more ways to mess with people, and here's what I will tell you. You are unfortunately a small cog caught up in the machinations of a bullshit system, which is tipping before service has been given. And for anyone that's ever heard my father on this podcast, he lets you know that tipping is an acronym and it stands for to ensure prompt service. My husband is a chef, and he will tell you that there have been studies conducted that shows that tipping doesn't improve a waiter's performance. Meaning if you're a shitty waiter and you do a bad job and someone tips you poorly, you will think like, well, they suck. Very rarely do people question like, well, what could I have done better on this drive across town? So it's insane that that system of that contactless payment doesn't allow them, like an Uber driver, to tip you after. So that's what sucks, is you're stuck in a situation where you're being asked to tip to rate a performance that you have not yet performed. But I think you're well within your right to shake those sodas. If you have enough money to order in pizza, I don't care if it's Domino's Pizza, then you need to pay into the system that is providing it, or get in your car and drive downstairs to the Domino's that you live above, or just go pick up your own Little Caesars hot and ready to go. Could also be a sponsor.
I just think the ingenuity, okay, it's one thing to shake a soda, diabolical. But the idea of opening your front door and everything is laid out separately and you have to bend over and pick each piece up, like, especially because I don't know about anyone in the audience, but when I reach out, when I'm getting fast food, I'm wearing PJs and I'm trying to stick an arm out and hope none of my neighbors see me.
Right.
So if I had to gather a bunch of stuff, that's smart.
You need to apply that logic to a greater skill set in life. Like if you're the kind of person that's like, I'm going to make them bend down and they're going to relate. What you should do is, and I learned this term from Emily, malicious compliance. You should take everything, set the table on the porch, like cut the pizza up for them, like have it out, fork, knife, spoon, napkin, everything scattered, but in an orderly fashion. So you can be like, what? I want it to be nice. I get it. You're raging. You're raging against the machine, and it's tough. Despite all your rage, you are still just a rat in a cage.
What if they had a crispy $10 bill ready to go? They were going to greet you.
Yeah.
And
but
then
it's
they come out and see their
contactless.
stuff cattywampus all over the place.
You don't want cattywampus. I've seen that on the internet. Someone's like, I was going to tip you with all these coins.
No, but it's contactless. So the person said, don't talk to me, leave it and go. And then there's not a tip.
Counterpoint, what if next time they come out and they're like, I'm definitely not tipping this person that left my stuff all over the place.
You're paying it forward because it'll be a different driver and that person's going to get fucked. Double counterpoint, large corporations should pay people enough so that they can live off of one job and not pass that cost on to the customer. Coffee shops.
Yeah, I do have one more trick idea though, but that's good too. That's a good message.
Sorry. I'm sorry that you were doing the assignment while I'm like thinking of corporations I can yell at. And like hearkening back to the good old days of Uber when you could just like, I paid, goodbye. Now you got a tip.
Corporations are people. If you have a door that opens outwards, if you have one of those like screen door, glass door things, people will put the drink and right in front of it so you cannot get out of your home without knocking it over.
I think in a world where we are caught up in these systems that you did not sign up for, be it customer service or you can't get off email lists, everybody has your number, like all of these things on hold with a representative hoping you die before you can cash in your insurance policy, like whatever. I think you have to do what you can, to quote Roosevelt, with what you have where you are, even if that means tiny anarchy, little fires that get snuffed out immediately. But it's not the point is that you got to do it. Like you shook that soda, my fellow American, and you don't even know how that soda will wreak havoc on their carpet. But the point is you did it. And that is, in this economy, in this world, all the power that you can grasp. And I support you. Thank you.
The idea of handing someone you don't like a shaken soda is actually so delicious.
Yeah. A what?
The idea of handing someone you don't like a pre-shaken soda, like here you go, is just
it's
really
such an
thrills
80s
me.
prank. Like who hands someone a soda?
Here you go.
Little things, and then the deliciousness of just sitting there in your own skin while someone. It's actually part of my top of the cob. So this is actually quite prescient that this is being brought up. I'm excited to share with you what an awful person I am. More on that later.
Okay, yeah, save that. Save that till they can't get out.
I have it written down.
Okay, let's ask another question.
Okay.
Hi, Iliza and Emily. This is from a man, by the way. We need to flag that. Yeah. Don't like cheer for him, but it is different.
It's just enough for Reddit to know that we did that. Now they won't.
We're trying.
Yeah.
Iliza, discovered you about 7 years ago when a woman I was dating put on a special of yours. I was an instant fan. I've watched all your specials since. I am a 48-year-old male with a dad bod, but I'm not a dad. I've had one mistake. Not saying marriage as a concept is a mistake, but that one was that lasted 5 years and ended in divorce.
Okay.
I mean, this is the most man question in writing. I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm not religious, and I'm a liberal in a very conservative state. So my only friends are people I know through work. Almost 5 years ago, my mother moved in with me. She had some health problems, a couple surgeries, and a house that was falling down around her. Since I didn't have a wife or kids, the decision was made between my brother and I for her to move into an extra room of mine. I was dating a train wreck of a woman at the time, and I've had one short relationship since. My mother was not the deal breaker, but she was a very large contributor to that last relationship ending. The only dating success I've had has been through dating apps. After the last breakup, I deleted all of the apps and haven't bothered trying to date at all. It's been about 3 years now being single, and it feels like it's going to be forever. When I see an attractive woman in public, I do my best to look away and avoid eye contact. What's the point? What woman wants to date a man that has his mom for a roommate?
You'd be surprised.
Many people now have told me how wonderful of a person I am to take care of my mother. Maybe that's true, but I hate that the cost seems to be being single and miserable. I've told her I want us to live separately again, but I'm not sure I'll ever be able to afford 2 households. She has no savings and only Social Security income. Here's my question. Should I give up on companionship completely or start up the apps again and just put in my profile full disclosure my mother lives with me? That would probably scare off 99% of ladies. However, if I don't put it out up front, I'm not sure I'll be able to take rejection after rejection when they do find out. Thank you, Mike.
Mike, thank you so
Help,
much for your
Mike.
question. Let's welcome Mike. There's like a couple guys who are like, I don't want to clap for this dude. I fucking drove in for this. There was traffic. The issue is not your mother. The issue is you. And I say that with a lot of love. We often get women. I've actually never heard, I'm not saying this doesn't happen, but you hear women more often than not. They're like, love's not going my way. I'm going to delete all the apps. The universe doesn't reward that. You're not going to ever meet someone feeling bad for yourself, sitting in your house or having excuses. The universe, it's not a Hallmark movie. You're not going to some Domino's delivery person isn't going to like shake your soda and be like, wait, oh, hi. And I'm Susan. You have a very slight, my friend, chip on your shoulder about the way that love has worked out for you. It's not ideal that your mother lives with you, but if you were a good guy, solid guy, you don't have to be attractive, just a good guy, and you own your own home, plenty of women would think that that was really sweet. Because remember, your mother lives with you. If you lived with your mother, you would be saying mean things in my comment section. You wouldn't be listening to this. You would never find this unless it was like reposted on some weird, like illegal nudes website. So your mother lives with you. That is an incredibly kind thing. And you're being very sweet to her. You don't have to do this, but she has nowhere else to go. You lead with that and lead with the fact that you are a good person doing a good thing. Get on those apps, dust yourself off, get you a gay male friend and a female friend, a regular female friend who can show you how to dress, who can show you how to dress right, have some confidence, and put yourself out there. Because love is not going to find you like all squirreled up in your house with your mom, and you're only going to get weirder and weirder, okay? That's what you need to do. Like, I'm sorry that it didn't work out. These things happen. People have bad relationships. You're a homeowner, you're a man, and you have a mom that loves you. You're doing better than most. So, yeah.
Well, we don't know that she loves him, but we can assume.
Someone's loving someone. You're a nice guy. That's a sweet thing to do. I don't think if you were an asshole, you would be doing that.
No, but it really is in the telling of it. The fact that he wants to put on his profile, like, FYI, my mom lives with me. It's like,
you don't need to.
Say, hey, if you want to say something, it's like, hey, by the way, my mother supported me. Like, she's retired now, so she lives with me, so I can keep an eye on her.
You don't put that in your profile.
It's my house. Like,
you don't put it in your profile.
You don't say it at all? Because he's saying that once people find out, they're going to reject him.
No, it's not like he's like missing legs and it's like, gotcha. This is something... Of all the things that I could have said that would have upset people, I just went with missing legs. It's not...
Someone's going to be mad.
I'm just saying, all are welcome here. I'm just saying, when you go on the date, she starts to like you. We all have things that are not perfect about us that you reveal. And this need to be like, here's all of my garbage and all of my baggage right up top. Not everybody needs to know everything. And there is something to be said for someone liking you enough. And if you're super charming and you're cute and all this stuff, and you say, I own my home and my mom lives with me, she's not doing well, that woman might be like, oh my God, that's so sweet. And then, Mike, your personality will ruin the rest of it. That's right. I just think there are things when people write in to the podcast about all these things like, oh, should I say, we've had people that are like, I'm trans. Should I reveal that? Yes, you should, because that is who you are, right? Who you are, while it is sweet that you are letting your mom live with you, like that is not a personality flaw or drawback. It is just part of your living situation. However, if you were living with an ex-girlfriend, I would reveal that. But your mother, it's your mother and you're helping her versus someone I used to fuck who stays on my couch. And if that is the case, then you shouldn't be dating at all. So that's the truth. Remember that you are an asset. Just by being a man in this country, you are ahead of most. And so enjoy that. Enjoy that privilege. I think everyone turned on me for a second. I don't know what happened. I felt like I had them.
It was the legs thing.
And then I did a weird debate and they turned on me. Okay.
I know you're taking this very seriously. So next, do you want like a petty kind of delicious problem or like a family dysfunction problem?
Do we want a petty problem? Is it a short petty one?
It's
everyone was like petty.
Petty. Okay. Because this is so
your
specific.
Eel scarf swirls around like Flotsam and Jetsam, like petty. My pets. I just watched Little Mermaid with my daughter. That's why it's in my head. Yeah. Petty.
Hey, AIA flight crew. I'm flying in to visit my best friend this weekend, and she is unwilling to pick me up from the airport.
Which airport? Is it LAX?
Dear elder millennial, is this normal? I am 27 and live in DC. She is 29 and just moved to NH for her new job. New Hampshire?
New Hampshire. It's a cornfield.
She and
Grab a combine and scoop up your friend. Cornfield.
She and I were talking about how fun it would be for me and my husband to come visit her and her husband. It's an 8-hour drive, which isn't doable for a weekend trip as I have limited PTO. So we would have to fly. I wasn't concerned because she said there are flights from an airport minutes from my apartment, DCA, to an airport minutes from her house, MHT. How perfect. But when my husband and I sat down to book, we realized we had no option but to fly out of an airport 1.5 hours from our apartment, BWI, into an airport 1 hour away from her house, BOS. Do you know all these, Iliza?
Boston.
All these
She's going out of BWI into Boston, Maryland into Boston, as opposed to flying out of Dulles.
I got a full chart routed out back here, so
He's mapping your whole flight.
Thank you for the call signs.
That was the only way to get dates and times that worked. And it was also the only affordable option. Before we booked it, I told her the dates we found, asked if she'd be able to pick us up from the airport in Boston. She told me no, because she's not comfortable driving in Boston. Granted, the flight lands after 11 p.m. when there will be less traffic.
Okay. No, not less traffic. Don't put a spin on it.
We ended up booking the flight after putting some thought into it, partially because we knew she'd take it personally if we didn't. My husband and I rented a car, which was still much cheaper than flying into the airport near her house, but I'm pretty hurt by this.
No.
I drive friends to and from faraway airports and train stations without batting an eyelash.
No.
If they're taking the time and expenses to come see me, then it's the least I can do. Is this normal? Also, I tried to compromise. I asked her she would pick us up from a spot we Ubered to that was
like
far outside
subway?
Boston to
Like a
avoid
halfway
the city
point?
driving. All she said was, wait, didn't you say you were renting a car?
Yeah, she got you. Listen to me. I don't take my mother to the airport.
Iliza, I feel like David Beckham.
I picked her up. What?
Yeah, I feel like David Beckham in that video where Victoria Beckham says like, oh, we were kind of poor. And he pops in like, Iliza, who do you get to pick up your mom at the airport?
My assistant. And I was going to reveal it. You monster! But doesn't it show that I still I paid you. I paid Danielle. And I cover some of the gas. And if she has... Danielle had to go to a bachelorette party forever. And I was like, go. I'll just text you. I'm a cool boss. I'm an awesome person to work for. People love working overtime. I have called my mother, independent of having an assistant that I do finance, that I do pay for. I have called Ubers for my family.
Yes.
Both directions. Because after the age of 25, like you can take care of yourself. We're not doing it. The other level of complexity, first of all, you're with a man, so you are a little bit safer, and it's after 11. So your friend who lives in New Hampshire, I was going to say rural New Hampshire, but like that's, a double redundant. Thank you. A double redundant. She's not I get that. That's kind of far to drive. And Boston is a big city. Yes, there'll be like traffic, but that is scary. They have a lot of bridges, whatever. Your friend told you the circumstance. I watched that bridge go up. I was in college during the Big Dig, and there were a lot of rats.
Oh, I love it.
For those of you tuning in, I went to school in Boston, and I'm going to let you think it's Harvard. But I couldn't remember redundant just then, so we know it's not.
Just to say, I went to a school in Boston.
It's redundant. Just say redundant. Your friend told you what she was willing to do and not willing to do. You all agreed on it. You bought it anyway, and you were hoping that she would do it anyway. You're the one traveling with a husband. You rented a car. Your husband's going to drive that car into a brick wall, but he's going to drive that car late at night. It is kind of out of bounds to expect a girl. It's not that women can't do anything, but like she doesn't feel safe. And you have a rental car, and now you'll have freedom to take a break from your annoying friend when you're visiting in New Hampshire.
Driving in Boston is legitimately like, it's scary to drive there. But this idea of like you getting an Uber to somewhere for her to pick you up, it's like, okay, at that point, just stay in the Uber. But I do understand why this person feels kind of hurt that they're taking their PTO, they're flying into her city to see her. And she's like, I mean, if it's convenient for me, I guess.
Well, after 11 o'clock at night, like no one's having fun. Everyone's tired and you're staying at her house. Maybe she's cooking. Maybe she's getting, like, you don't know. If you go and it's a bad visit and she's like, here's a cot. I forgot to clean it after the mice left. Like, then, like, don't visit her. But I get that I don't know that it equates like I made the trip, so you have to pick me up. Like, that's some weird girl math to go with the girl dinner that she's going to serve you when you realize she doesn't cook. I'm not picking anyone up. And I don't expect.
That's fair.
Also, it's like I put picking up someone from the airport. If you live somewhere close and it's on the way and it's fun, like you fly into Austin, that's a little bit easier or something. I'm just thinking about where my friends live. The airport pickup and asking someone to move. We don't ask these things in our late 20s. We're done. Like 25 is the cutoff. You're asking me to help you move. Like then you probably can't. You can't afford to move.
I felt bad even after we discussed it, asking like, could I stay at your house for a night, Iliza? I felt like, oh, I'm asking so much of her.
I offered in the first place, and then you sent me the most formal request. Like, I would arrive at this time, and I will be out by this time. I'm
acceptable?
Like, good, because room service, because cleaning comes. I wish you would stay with me. And you're always for work. You're always staying downtown. Ugh. And you can't see me and all the cool things I have.
All the cool things. What, like your toys? Like what?
I got one of those
your
sets.
activities.
I have one of those sets. It goes in my head.
know. I set it up for you.
I haven't used it since. I don't know how it works.
Oh my God.
I don't want to get lost in the metaverse.
You don't want to do like yoga by a waterfall?
No, not with that thing strapped to my head. We're going to look back at those in 10 years and be like, look how dumb that looks, that it's not an implant in your eyeball. Yeah. Oh, my dream girl. I'm like, are you watching my specials? Gross.
Okay, let's do an audience question. I'm going to ask for a Herula K in the audience.
Are you saying it wrong like you did with Aaliyah? Is that
maybe.
you?
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for choosing me. I have some notes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give a lot of context. But the question is, should I quit my job to travel the world? Love it already.
Job.
Oh boy, where do I start? Basically, my whole life I've had a scarcity mindset, which is like, there's not enough for me out there in the world. Grew up poor. I have trigger warning, a little bit of trauma incoming. First off, my family to go to uni, and then my older brother got diagnosed with cancer, and then for 4 years he was battling that. Then he passed away. My dad had to move to Germany for work, and then I moved to the UK. I'm from Greece. I moved from Greece to the UK. I did my master's.
Of course.
Yeah. And then I worked on my career. Now I'm a web editor. And I was very, very focused on my career, basically. And then I met my boyfriend, this guy, in September 2019, which is an important date because a few months later we had COVID. And during COVID, my family was one of those where you were like, oh, there's like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, whatever, where both of my parents got it. They were both in hospital for months. I got it. We were in different countries. I got long COVID for a little bit. My dad passed away. My mom was like touch and go for ages. Then she got better.
Your dad died from COVID?
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
Some people don't believe it.
Yeah, people don't believe. Like that's. Oh God.
Well, yeah, it was fucked up.
She's like, fine. To quote you, that's so fucked up. Okay. Sorry.
I've done tons of therapy. I'm on medication. It's fine. So yeah, and basically when I met my boyfriend, and I also got like a really nice job, and I felt like I was on the right path. And then after COVID, I've had no motivation to continue on the path that I am. It just feels like it's a thing that served me for a while, and it just doesn't anymore. So my question here is, I'm still like being held back by that kind of scarcity mindset of, what do you think you're going to do? Like, you can't just follow your heart because, like, what if it doesn't work out? Like all the bad luck you've had in your life, all the like, the things that have been thrown at you. What if something goes wrong? So yeah, sorry, it's a bummer.
It is a bummer, but one of the worst things I think as kids that we can imagine is our parents dying. So that already happened to you. What have you got to lose? Like, you lived through a lot of awful things. Of course, awful things can always happen, but awful things can happen to you just web editing at home. Like, you were doing nothing wrong and you got long COVID. Like, I'm sure you were being safe and not like open mouth kissing strangers at Rite Aid, and like you still got it. Meaning, not that pain is going to find you, but bad things happen, whether we make choices or not, whether we are bold or not. And your scarcity mindset is because you're an immigrant, and you have, not that people don't have it like that, but your parents probably worked really hard to provide you the life you had. You guys were super scattered. So that's really normal for someone in your situation to feel that way, or if you grew up poor, to have that. And I think a lot of people have that in different ways. It could be about food. It could be about possessions. It could be about money. And our parents passed this on to us if they went through something. But, and it can be a generational trauma based on your ethnic group or your color or your religion. And we all have these things. But you have this one life. And you got this job that I'm pretty sure you can do from anywhere. And I understand, even though none of your life is particularly relatable to me, because I haven't gone through any of that. And I'm not Greek. That's not just all of that stuff. That feeling after COVID where you're kind of like, I'm not positive what's going on. Everybody feels that way. Every industry is reeling from that. It's like the world is upside down. We are dealing with situations and circumstances that none of us were raised to fully comprehend. And everything is happening in such a crazy way in real time at all times, and nothing makes sense. And I think the part that you're grappling with is that you always worked to do this thing, and you got this master's, of course, because you're a listener to this podcast and everyone has a higher education than I do. And you got there and there was no there. You were like supposed to have gotten this job just like your parents probably wanted you to, and worked really hard, and you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be. I feel that way every time I climb a mountain in show business and I get the thing and I'm like, who cares? Like it was a speed bump. Like I barely felt that. The point is to feel fulfilled and to do things that make you feel good. And you are asking if you should travel the world because you want to travel the world. You didn't ask me if you should take skiing lessons. You asked me if you should travel the world. And the good news is we know what it's like to not be allowed to travel the world because we all live through it. It's open. And apart from like your flight getting delayed or something, like it's there for you to see, because there will come a day where you can't do it. Whether it is that you are older or you get sick or you have kids or you have a job that doesn't allow you, but you can do it now. So you have to go. take that boyfriend who probably agrees with me. Don't you want to go to like a nude beach with your Greek girlfriend?
Sure, always.
Always. Go now. I mean, for whatever it's worth, like I travel a ton. But there is, and I love my children more than life itself. But like, I think back to like when Noah and I could just go. And it's not that we can't go now. You just like have to do like so much planning and pay people so much to watch your kids and take people to the airport. Go because you will be glad that you did and you can. And try to visit. No regrets.
So I have 2 questions. One, how do we say your name?
You said it perfectly.
Oh my God. Okay, great. Because I don't want to keep saying it wrong. Yes. Okay. When you submitted this question, I was so intrigued by it because you kept it very mysterious, which now I see why. A lot going on. But I was very interested by the fact that you were bringing your boyfriend to the show. And I was like, is she planning to travel the world and like leave him?
Are you
that
ditching
felt
him
like
here?
the question, right? Is that it? Because listening to the question when you actually said it here, I'm like, of course you have to go. When I read it, I wasn't sure, but of course you have to go. You can web edit, get some freelance
No one
clients.
here thinks you shouldn't go.
No. Are you going to go? Will you go?
Yes.
Oh, great. Perfect.
And by the way, it doesn't have to be the whole world. Like you could just pick like a country and then come home for a little bit and then go back out.
Thank you so much, guys. It was really, really sweet. Thank you.
I'm like, might I suggest flying out of Boston? It's so close to Europe.
Picking you up.
I happen to love going there and coming home. Logan's always done me right. Okay. They used to have illegal seafood there. Okay. I don't know if it's still there. Is it still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is legal seafood still okay?
Yeah.
A thing?
That's
We've
the
solved
show.
one problem for sure. I just think it's like this is the first time where I'm like, we did it. We answered it. We gave the best possible answer. We're done.
I think there's no reason to not. And I think more women in general always get held back by stuff. So before you get into a situation, good or bad, where you cannot travel, whether it is your job or you get pregnant or you are trying to get pregnant or you don't want to get pregnant and you're stuck doing something else or you're getting married and you're planning something or it's like whatever, or you get sick or a billion things that can happen to a person, go.
Yeah.
Nobody ever looks. What?
We're all in the same boat, like you said about companies. Like I moved back to Atlanta after COVID because I spent 2 years in a studio apartment. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So everybody's in kind of the same boat of trying something different. Yeah.
I wanted to do this web show forever. And not that it's the same as like you losing your father and traveling the world. But I finally was just like, I've got to do this myself because no one's ever going to give you permission to do anything. So you just got to do it.
Could not make it sound worse than calling it a web show.
I feel so old right now. And I know we struggled with this.
Is this your first vlog? Like, what are we doing? I don't.
This is my Angel Fire website. It's got.
Well, and our Herula can make us a really good website for your
cough
Angel
it up.
Fire.
Thank you.
Put all the blingies and the gifts.
When we were talking about how to introduce this, you were like, stop calling it a YouTube show. You sound 1,000 years old.
Right. You don't need both words. It's like you.
I'm sorry, I don't have like
say YouTube.
Riz. How do we even? Is it a noun?
Riz.
Gen Z's like, what's a noun?
They've already moved past that.
You don't know Riz?
So embarrassed.
You don't know Riz? It's short for charisma.
I was Googling if I was using a meme correctly today at work, and then I just asked a younger coworker.
You've got to. If you're allowed to make eye contact with them, you've got to ask a younger coworker.
I was like, this is cool, right? All right. I think that this audience, we're going real highs and lows. We're going to go real petty now again after a very serious, wonderful question.
I think that's the lubricant of the show is the pettiness.
Yeah.
Right, Scott?
Agreed.
Great. We'll use that soundbite. Great.
Hi, Iliza. I am a single woman veteran of the Army of 13 years, 38-year-old female from Texas, working as a counselor with those who have disabilities to help them find work. My question, how do I end a friendship as the result of a bad vacation?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was so serious until we got bad. Don't listen to this, Herula, the bad vacation part. It's going to be so great.
Okay. Yours is going to be great.
Bad vacation.
This person's on a cruise. So.
Well, here's your problem. Sorry.
I was going to travel alone on a cruise. I've done so before and had a blast. At the last minute, I invited a close friend that I had not traveled with before. I had been stationed with her in the past. I invited her as a nice gesture. We get along as we text daily, talk daily, but never traveled together. I paid for every single thing short of airfare, drinks, spa, and excursions, extra cost dinner, knowing she would never have this opportunity again. Starting the morning of the cruise, the complaining started. The berating of me being inconsiderate for use of my room cabin space and her replying, "Oh, I didn't need it anyway," after I cleaned out drawers in a shared closet. She then went on to hate the spa temperature, the food, blame me for her fibromyalgia pains, as well as complain when I had different bedtimes and wake up times than her. I tried to stand up for myself and she berated me and told me I was a pathetic victim player. I was trying to give her this trip out of the kindness of my heart. She and I stopped speaking. She mostly saying I was a bitch. The cruise line unfortunately made a mistake and refunded her money that was mine, saying I would have to work it out with her to get it back.
How did they even have her banking info?
I guess she probably put her card down for like the room or something because it was only $170, not a huge amount when I spent $6,000 on this cruise. We were in a suite class, by the way. My question. I took her off the next cruise we were scheduled to go on. Do I wait for her to figure it out as I've removed her from the reservation via my travel agent, or do I have a heart-to-heart and tell her?
Are you bulk reserving these cruises?
Getting good deals.
And she's not invited to our wedding.
I worry that I'm a pathetic, stupid person for being this nice and that I'm going to be taken advantage of again. How do I know going forward how to make friends and not be too nice or not try too hard? I loved seeing you in San Antonio when you announced your pregnancy. Thank you very much, Stephanie. And now a little more context because she's explaining how this person complains, and this person sounds like a nightmare. She proceeded to complain about the theme nights being stupid and not 80s enough. The food, the spa, the people, saying I was being too clingy, then getting mad at me for abandoning her. She would accuse me of taking up too much space in the room.
I'm sorry. Me for Are you guys fucking? I'm serious. I'm so serious. No. This has all the trappings of I thought I was going to sleep with this person and something went wrong. Are you sexually attracted to her?
No, you couldn't be sexually attracted to this person. They're well, not anymore. Okay, so this
you'd be surprised what I could get away with.
There are a couple questions here, which is number one. Does she need to tell this person, hey, you're not coming on the next cruise with me? And number two, this person is clearly like buying friendship. Like she's paying for all this stuff. How does she make friends not through this? Does she invite someone else on the next cruise and ply them with extra cost dinners?
You invite a friend, a platonic friend, and say, the cruise costs this. Let's split it. I don't know why you've booked another cruise. If you like doing it, you might just have to go by yourself. But first of all, you need to forget about that $170. And it sucks because that's a lot of money. She doesn't legally owe you this money. And I guess I'm sad for you that even if she was grateful, you spent all this money to give her. That's very sweet of you, but save that kindness and dole it out in droplets to someone who has earned it. And it's not like someone has to like prove their like love and friendship to you, but you're probably a good enough person that you don't have to do all of this up top. And she just takes advantage of people. And I can't imagine being in a friendship with someone who, if I said something like that to them, they would berate me back. So I think you just need to wash your hands of this. You don't need to inform her about anything. You can just cut off. You don't want to be friends with this.
No, she said she's going with her. She booked her on the next cruise with her, but now she just canceled her reservation without telling her. Tell her, since you hated the first cruise we went on, don't worry. You're not coming to the next one.
I don't even know if it's worth doing that because you don't sound like a confrontational person. You could just send it like the email. Send her the professional email that's like reservation canceled, and then just don't talk to her again. She's not going to show up. She didn't pay for it. Like it's done. It's fucked up that cruise did that. I can't believe you prepaid for 2 cruises up front. What is that? You're like, oh, it's going to be so good. I better double up now.
We're not going to do an Ask Iliza Anything cruise where we bring all the listeners onto a cruise boat and I just eat all you can eat snacks with them.
No, because I saw that episode of Hacks and all the lesbians turned on her. And I'm not doing it. And I don't love cruises. And I get that you guys do, and that's fine. that you love it? What? You like them. You said something. She was like, free food and drink. You're just at sea. Whatever. It's a personal preference. Distance yourself from this person and just know that in general, you don't ever need to buy another person's friendship. And it's okay to be sweet. Like, I'm a very giving friend, but I gotta see an ROI. You have to. So just it's not about like having your guard up. It's about like taking stock. Like, does this person make me feel bad? I get that you were stationed together in the military, but I wonder if you look back, if any of those red flags were there. Because
I guess when she was in the military and this person was complaining like, oh, it sucks being in the military, getting up. She's like, yeah, it does. But now on the cruise, she's doing the same thing. And it's like, we're not in Kuwait. Like, this is nice.
Yeah. That's why they say embrace the suck. Like, yeah, I don't know. Don't do that and cut your losses. Never get the money back. And maybe pick a different cruise company that doesn't like fuck up billing. And then they're like, it's your problem. Like, just don't be. What's the question?
Should I tell her that she's not coming or just let her figure it out herself? And also,
it doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't matter. Like, it's canceled. I don't even care if you could just send that email. Then it's on her if she wants to confirm that, buy a ticket, whatever. But she's not getting on the boat at that port.
She's not getting the extra cost dinners or excursions.
Don't do that. Because even if she was amazing, it's still like a lot of, you don't make that much money. And I want you to keep your money and spend it on things that you deserve. You could have gotten so many extra margarita bonuses and four-handed massages and Disney ice pops and shrimp crowns and tickets in line to do the Macarena, whatever is on a cruise.
Whatever happens there.
You could have
you ever been on a cruise?
I did a semester at sea, which is not a cruise, but we were on a boat. Oh, gee, I was on a ship.
Yeah, but you weren't like on a water slide.
One time I went with my mom somewhere. We were supposed to stop in the Azores. We stopped. We went. The fuck did we go? Bermuda. Went from Florida to Bermuda to Portugal. This was a very long time ago, and everyone there was like older. That was fine. You have to get dressed up for dinner. I don't love doing that. You got to do all that.
Yeah, never mind.
It was a really nice one. It wasn't like a family like dance one. And I was just like, how drunk can I get every night and find like 3 young people to talk to? And I did that. We're still in touch.
Yeah. So that's what our question asker should do. Stephanie should just find some other people on the cruise.
You should never be paying for your friends. It's one thing if it's one thing, like an excursion you want to do and you want some company, but everyone here agrees. You're better than that. Yeah. Yeah. They'll be your friends. And if you want to find some real friends, you could always join for free the Ask Iliza Anything Patreon, which is free. And a lot of people are connecting mostly on looking at other people's pets, which I thought it would be more than that, but it's just mostly people looking at everyone's pets. That's our Patreon.
Let's bring that community back together. Do another audience question. Do we have a Darcy in the crowd? Darcy.
There she is. She's very bubbly.
All right.
Yeah, of course you can stand Darcy if you prefer. Oh, yeah, well, do it slowly. For anyone listening at home, there is a dog under my chair and she gets upset when people stand up. She's okay. I think she's sleeping.
She's so looking at me right now. Okay. I'm going off script from the question I brought in. Is that okay?
Sure.
Do you care?
Oh,
okay, good.
We'll see.
You can always cut it out. Yeah. And she's got a weapon.
I got a weapon. I will use it. So this happened a while ago, but this was a question that I actually wanted to ask last time. But I have my best friend. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary in December. We've been friends for 25 years. And her sister, we would all hang out like for the past 20 some odd years. And there was a disagreement between the sister and my bestie. And the sister basically stopped speaking to her sister my best friend for a while. And then they figured things out. She's still not on the same page with everything. Like we're not hanging out anymore, essentially. So she stopped talking to me, the sister. My bestie and I are still close. But the sister, who we all hung out, we were all very good friends together, but she stopped talking to me and never called. And I just kind of let it, simmer down or whatever. But then after a while, like it's been a while now, but
What's a while?
a year now. It's been a year, almost a year. And so I'm like, I was like wondering, should I have done anything? Should I have said anything to the sister? Because I mean, we're friends, but
You still can.
I still can.
Right
but,
now. You have your phone?
Yeah. No.
Do you want me to call her?
No.
I feel like a mom, like, you want me to do it? You can reach out to her because you didn't do anything.
No.
So she probably feels like you've been poisoned by the sister, her sister, and she's probably embarrassed. And I don't know. Of course, I'd like to know the details of what happened, but
It was a buildup of things that, like, with their relationship, nothing happened between the sister and I, but
Who was wrong?
my
you're an
bestie-
extension of the friend, just like the sister is an extension of the sister.
Yeah.
Whose relationship is more important to you? Your best friend or the friend?
My
the-
bestie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it bother your best friend?
Will it bother your best friend?
I don't know.
Talk to her first,
Uh-huh.
and she will tell you, no, do it. But what she really means is, please don't do that. If I think you're feeling slighted because you're like, what did I do? And I loved you. But that is a family issue. And even if you guys become friends, like, cool, now you're like, hey, I'm hanging out with your sister that you don't talk to.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck in between. It's like you want to set things straight. You almost want to say to her, like, I just want to let you know that I love you and I'm sorry that this has happened. And maybe that will like bring them back together. But your relationship and loyalty is to the best friend.
Yeah. First, and that's how I've felt about it. And it's like I figured they would work their thing out. They talk, but they're very sisterly now. When before it was very
Ask
friendly.
your best friend.
Yeah.
Normally, I wouldn't ask for permission for anyone, but it's gonna make even more drama if your best friend is like, so you're calling Susan?
Yeah.
And you guys are like, what, hanging out? And you're like, it was just one latte. And she's like, okay, cool. You guys have fun getting married. Like,
But if
it
she
just feels like it
says-
could become another question on the podcast.
Yeah,
which
right.
we would
If she
welcome.
says it's okay.
Yeah.
If your friend says it's okay, take that at face value and you can talk to the sister.
But also,
she needs to be honest with you. You've known each other 25 years.
yeah, the sister's sister was okay throwing you out with the bathwater. So perhaps you don't mean as much to her as you thought. And there are things that are not being said. But because you're a woman, like, we are not okay with people not liking us, especially because you did nothing wrong. Maybe you have to be a little bit okay with it.
Yeah. And I am.
You seem great.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're pretty like jaunty.
I'm hanging out with your sister. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey,
I have
quick
fun with her
question
anyways.
from the booth here. She didn't take you on a cruise, did she?
No comment.
No. She's like, I did pay her back. Okay.
Thank
Ask
you.
the friend.
I will shout out the one friend of Eliza's who's a listener of the pod. Eliza, if you and I stop talking, I will continue to talk to Jamie. I'm just going to keep Instagram DMing her.
That's
So
fine.
just so you know.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. If we
So I
get
was
into a
planning on
fight,
stopping talking to her.
you and I have never had a fight. I guess partially because you were my employer for a while and you don't really have fights with your employers. You just like
not ones you
seethe
can win.
angrily.
No.
No.
I'm aware of your feeling. I'm very sweet to you.
You are. We've never had like a fight because I
No.
think it's hard to have a fight with you because you are very upfront. Like, what am I going to fight about if you're going to put on the table exactly your problem? What's the fight?
Was going somewhere with a friend the other day and she thought we should take one route and I thought the other. And even though it was only a 10-minute difference, we both kept being like, okay, like I think I still could have done that, but it's fine if we go this way. And like no one wanted to relent and it didn't really matter. And so I just stopped. I was like, is this our first fight? And it's like a nice way of being like, hey, I don't care. I still think I was right. But it also like, it's that tough thing to be like, it doesn't matter. But also I was probably right about taking the 405.
All right. Well, taking this audience's temperature, we have another very specific question. Hey, AIA gang, I always find your advice insightful and I finally have a question. My husband started doing freelance photography about 2 years ago. It started as more of a hobby.
This one is so good. I normally don't read them ahead of time because I'm just pretty good in the moment, but
You are, but I sent you some ahead of time like, hey, this is the vibe of the show.
we wanted to prepare for the YouTube web show.
No, we wanted to prepare for the lovely audience.
Yeah. We wanted to be polished. Everybody looks nice. I wanted to have nice. Okay. This is a good one.
Okay.
Okay.
So, casually hobby, doing family shoots or engagement shoots for friends. They usually would just tip him or take him out to dinner as a thank you because he was initially doing it for practice and not charging. Well, within the last 9 months or so, he's had many local businesses reach out to him through word of mouth to do different photography projects. It's been a nice surprise because he hasn't put much effort into marketing himself, but businesses have just been falling in his lap. These are real clients who are willing to pay professional photography prices. He has done at least 6 of these shoots, and after delivering the albums, has never invoiced them for it. They have asked him for invoices and to just send them the bill for whatever it costs. And my husband just never follows up or claims he will eventually invoice them. I am getting so frustrated because it seems like he doesn't care about getting paid. And it's a bad look to never follow up and then come back asking for money 6 months later.
You can't. Yep.
After many gentle probes of asking the status of his payments, he finally admitted he's uncomfortable asking for money and doesn't feel professional enough to be charging people. I tried to remind him about how many way worse photographers are out there who have no problem charging $300 an hour for terrible photos. He's his own worst critic and sometimes feels like he's not delivering the quality he wants. I've offered to help in any way because he's definitely more the creative type and does not excel in the administrative side of having a side hustle. He says he doesn't need my help, and I feel like a nagging wife asking over and over. We are both 29 and could very much use the extra money. Iliza, I feel like you understand how to value yourself given that you are an entrepreneur, essentially selling your personality.
Overvalue myself.
How can I encourage my husband to be motivated to get paid and take advantage of this potential income, or should I just stay out of it? And if he wants to just volunteer and work for free, accept it. Sincerely, a loving wife who is daydreaming about the home renovations we could do.
It's very sweet. And it's tough because you almost want to say to your husband, like, either do it completely or do not do it at all. If this were a hobby, it would take up less time. But this is taking time away from me, away from us, away from things that we could be doing, and time away from other things that you could be doing to make money. We are married, so we are in this together. I am not here to support a bullshit hobby while there are other things. If we were billionaires and you want to go fly fishing, great. But there are goals that we have together. Give me your contact list. I will do the invoices. I know plenty of couples where the wife does that. My own parents are like this. My stepmom does the invoicing. My dad does the lessons, whatever. Take it off his plate. There's something weird there. It's like you think you're good enough to do this, but then you have weird confidence when it comes to charging people. He's got to get over that. It's this weird self-loathing cloaked in confidence, imposter syndrome. There's no imposter. People are paying you, and I want that fucking ensuite. So you have to say this to him and like not take. My husband is the best guy I know, and there have been times, not directly about this, where I've been like, here's the truth. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to help you. And you'd be surprised when like you roar back at a man, how they're like, okay, if you're going to help me, I guess that should be okay. Like just, and it's for the both of you. It's not like you're like, I need money so I can go buy garbage and like hot pants. I'm thinking of Ted Bundy. I was like bonbons. It's for the two of you. You are on this path together. You are married. The decisions that both of you make affect the whole as a unit. The whole as a unit. Affect your unit. Affect your whole and his unit. You're in this together. That's all. That's what a marriage is. Otherwise, you'd just be two best friends. And so his choices affect your life.
Right. I do think she's saying that he she's
right.
Yes, no, you're correct. Yes, Anne.
Yes, Anne.
She's offered to do the admin and he doesn't want her to. So I wonder if coming in with like some hard numbers where it's like, okay, these 5 photographers who you and I have talked about and laughed about how bad they are charge X amount.
Yes.
So let's charge set a rate. And where you've done all the research, like, it doesn't matter if you think you're good. You know, you're better than this guy. You can charge what this guy charges.
People get weird about charging money, and it's a weird conversation. But I will tell you, because I work in a freelance economy, when you charge what you want to charge, especially if it's like a little bit higher than you thought, people don't balk at it. They're like, oh, I must be getting some value here. And so never go, like, just charge the rate. Maybe forget all the gigs from before because those were handshake agreements. There was no invoicing. It is tough to invoice someone 6 months later. It makes me not respect the business. And I'm like, legally, I mean, you do have to pay them, but you're like, but you didn't ask us for a while. Start now.
It's weirdly rude. Like it's rude in that like they're wondering when the other shoe is going to drop. Like they're trying to settle accounts. They had whatever budget. They had, let's say $600 for this marketing project. They're trying to settle that account and they just have this waving in the wind. Like maybe if he's a real people pleaser, he'll respond to, you're inconveniencing these other people by not letting them just pay you and check it off their list.
But even better, I'm always like, don't get involved. If he's a people pleaser, you can be the ball buster. Like you can be the black and white numbers person. You like doing it. You're good at it. Say to him, how would you like it if every Thursday and all Sunday and some Mondays, I was just gone to a water aerobics class that was 6 hours? You'd be like, no, I want to spend time with you. This affects both of us. Well, that's how I feel about you at these weddings. Giving away this skill, show him how much money in total he could have charged and what that could buy. Like, give him those numbers and be like, I will handle it. But you're disrespecting our relationship and our time together by not factoring me into this decision making. And try yelling it.
I don't know. You were worried, or you yelled at the show, and you were worried the audience wouldn't respond well. So let's not yell.
Try yelling topless. That way everybody wins. Just jiggling.
Something about that is really horrifying.
Just your thick nips in the wind. That was too much.
It's like very David Lynch, the idea of someone yelling at you topless.
It's the person I get compared to the most.
All right.
Peaks.
I think.
Those Twin Peaks. Okay.
All right. We are going to do Top of the Cob.
It's time for Top of the Cob. So we're going to kick
something for you.
You got something for me?
It's the top of the cob. We're doing it right.
Why is it free?
Every day. You just take a bite. Top of the cob.
I made that. Shout out. I didn't make the cobbler. Shout out to my assistant, Danielle. I just texted her one day. I was like, what is it? I need nail polish. I need a rose and I need cobbler. Because I did some confessions and then she came back and then she ate the cobbler. So everybody won. I just barely, my hand was clean.
Picked him up on the way home from the airport.
Yeah.
But I do want people to know, the people watching this YouTube show, the people in the audience.
I have to,
You were like, I want there to be incredible visuals. And then you delivered what you delivered.
Are you not entertained?
No, it's the ethos of the show, a cobbler. And I think we need to remind the people, Top of the Cob, CO.
Well, I'm going to explain. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Top of the Cob is a segment where we share something that is the best, something that you love. It can be a sweater when it fits great because it's warm out of the dryer, even though it shrank. And then we do a bottom of the cob, which can be anything from someone not having their order when you got up to the cash register at a coffee shop to global hunger. But the more specific and human it is, the better. And it is called Top of the Cob because we here at Ask Iliza Anything believe that the best part of a cobbler is the top of it. So it is cob with two B's. It has nothing to do with a corn cob. And it has made making merch really difficult to explain to an artist what like a cobbler would look like.
And when you try to look at that lovely video you captured, it's not like gorgeous looking. You're not like, ooh, a pile of mush.
And she grimaced. The people in the front were like, ugh. It was a fresh piece of cobbler right from the grocery store, and it looks digested and regurgitated.
I like a food that looks like it's already been eaten.
It's bad.
But it's not great for merch.
All the more reason just to eat the top part, which doesn't look so gooey. So that's Top of the Cob. Almost anything can be a top or bottom, but we like to kick it off with the audience sharing a bottom. What happened?
Okay.
We're not doing. Oh, that's right.
We can do it that. I feel like because we want to grab a couple people, maybe we do ours, then grab a couple, and then
I'll kick it
so
off.
We can judge time better.
All right, Emily. I've worked in production too.
So all of you, and we're giving you a minute to think. Think about your tops and bottoms. I'm not going to boom in a voice.
I forgot mine. I thought I was going to write down, and I just wrote down Hot Scotty.
Hello.
Hot Scotty mood
You
board.
emailed me. Do you want me to?
Can you just
your
give me
bottom is
just say,
it has to do with pants and a trend.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. My bottom of the cob, and then we're gonna go to the audience.
No, I'm gonna go.
Oh. Okay, I guess it's Ask Emily anything. You give me one ride to the airport 18 times and like, can I go? Okay.
Yeah.
My bottom of the cob is a raw hem. I hate it. I put other visuals in the Dropbox, please. Nike, be a sponsor. There's no way those are real Nikes. Please show the other one. There's one from Bergdorf Goodman to show you that even expensive pants are made stupidly.
Is the Bergdorf one the one on the completely
She got a sweater with
background?
a French tuck. I hit a weird button. I meant to do crop, and it said like remove background. So it's just a floating person.
Yeah. Okay.
I, first of all, loathe this boot look because designers were like, how about a palazzo pant? Well, what the fuck do you wear with it in the winter? How about these hooves? I hate it. But I hate a raw hem. And I hate a raw hem because it was a trend that was supposed to be exactly that, a trend. And it has stuck around. And I'm sure there's some weird fact, like, actually, a raw hem takes more child labor. I hate the way it looks. I hate this photo. There is no punk rock in a $400 pair of pants. It always looks unfinished. I don't like, as a mom, being forced to be like, but I'm edgy. It's right up there with studs and painted on skulls and like born to love and live. It's just such, even at a lower price point, and I did include, Your Honor, a lower price point in my Dropbox, and you're not showing that third one. I just think it's ugly. And unlike most trends, I'm not going to like come around to being like, you know what, I'll do it. I've gotten sent free pants from nice companies, and you put it on and it's a raw hem, and I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to wear this bullshit. It's ugly, and it's every pair of pants.
You want this one.
I like a hem. Look at that. I did that editing. It's so bad.
This
is our website. What
This really
is
is
the
a premier
vibe? Like,
web
I
show.
was on a desert island for a little, like, it's like annoyingly faux beachy. It's bullshit. Hem your fucking garment and let me buy something of quality with real design.
We got to
Thank you.
address the hem of that photo. What happened there?
What is happening?
This is what you did. That was the one that you like cut out the background of.
I accidentally hit remove background and I was like, it's fine. Like, that's not the point of the show.
On the Nintendo?
Right.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
new thing. It's a companion piece to my web show. All right, beat that.
Okay. My bottom is.
I'm looking around to see any raw hems in this audience.
I know. I saw something. I realized something horrible. I downloaded the Facetune app and signed up for a free trial because I wanted to change there was like a lump in a shirt, and I was like, I'll just edit it on my phone easily. Oh my God.
Please
Is this
show
what
us.
everyone's doing? It looks so much better when you Facetune.
Can we see? Can we see?
No, I don't have it. No, this
I'm
is
sorry.
just
Looking better is your bottom of the cob?
No, the fact that now I know this is how the other half lives. You're all paying for Facetune and getting nice photos where your hair isn't sticking up in the middle like alfalfa. I'm just letting it all ride. I'm just putting it on there.
Yeah.
But I open this and it's just like AI enhancing. Boom, this is so much better than you've ever looked. And I was like, I can't have this power. And I canceled the free subscription. I was
Good
like,
for you. Good for
hard.
you.
But
As
this
we're
is
all
shocking.
Facetuning ourselves, we're like, stay ugly. That's great. I
This
Facetuned
technology.
those raw hem pants, and that's
the problem.
it is a slippery slope because once you post like that, people expect you to look like that. So good for you for not swallowing that pill.
I once on a date, the guy said, you really look like your photos. And I was like, yeah.
You're like, thank you.
Right.
Oh, was it? Oh, wow. Or like, oh, wow. You
It
really
was
look
kind
your
of
photo.
like, oh, like you're not cool. Like, no, good. It was like kind of
Good for you.
good on you. Like, you know what? You're out there really being authentic. Like, good luck to you. Good on you.
That's a good one. Does anyone else have a bottom of the cob they'd like to share before we dismiss class? Would you like to come up?
Just stand in between us.
Okay. So what I was thinking of is I hate it when customer service people lie. Because I flew in today and we had a rental car and they said they come every 10 to 15 minutes to pick you up. And then I called and they said every 20 minutes to pick you up. From the shuttle? Yes. And it was... Oh, sorry.
Talking about the shuttle for the rental at the airport.
And it took over a half an hour before they finally showed up. And it's just, if they said it'll be a half an hour, fine. But they said 10 minutes. And then it was a half an hour. So.
Was this at LAX?
Yes, it was. Yes.
What time did you land?
2.
That's rush hour.
And
anytime you said I would have said it was rush hour.
We made it here with 12 minutes to spare.
Did you?
It was 7, but I meant 12.
Did you fly in just for this?
No, we were, but I entered this just because we were coming.
I love that. What are you here for?
We are going to Disneyland.
So. Customer service lying. I think there's always a disconnect between the person doing the action and the person programming for the action. So You got stuck in that machine. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
Do you want to shame the rental car company? This is your chance to talk to 6 people.
No.
Was it 6? Was it that one? SIXT? No. Was it Enterprise?
No.
Alamo?
No.
Hertz?
Priceless.
Oh, priceless?
Yes.
Priceless. Thank you so much for contributing your bottom of the cob.
Okay. Iliza, you want to do top?
I don't want to be the girl. And I brought my dog because I've always been that girl, but she can't be. I'm sorry that she growled at you. It's because you stood up, so. Maybe rethink your choices. My top of the cob is going to, it's not going to engender me to anyone. And I think you might be like, I don't know if I like her. But you're already here. And you had the pizza. And thank you, Spindrift, for the soda. My top of the cob is the delicious, micro parade you get to throw yourself when someone you don't like, for whatever reason. This can't be you assaulted someone I knew, but you're a piece of shit, or you were rude to me once, or I just don't like your vibe for a personal reason. When something bad happens to them that doesn't correlate karmically with what they've done. For example, if you date someone and they cheat on you, and then you find out 5 years later that they got cheated on or their wife left them, no. What I want is, you were a dick to me in a green room. You said something rude. And then 10 years later, your sitcom got canceled. So I don't even care that you're doing better than me. What's delicious is that it came around and eventually something got you. And although you're celebrating in a mansion and I am just trying to get this web show off the ground, what I know is that your show was canceled because you were a shitty person and it got you. And in a weird way, I feel like, you see what happens? It feels great. You know what I'm talking about? Yes. The internet would have you believe wow, that's really petty. Everybody feels this way. If you cut me off in traffic, I don't want to see you get cut off. 6 years later, I want someone to vandalize your car in your own home parking lot or something. That's what I want.
Make you feel unsafe.
Yeah.
At home.
If you were rude to me, I want you to get food poisoning publicly 9 years later on a cruise. That's what I want. Tiny retribution that I had nothing to do with. Universal retribution. Cosmic retribution. So evil. Yes.
My top of the cob is definitely not going to engender anyone to me because it is that revulsion / fascination that you sometimes have. My cat's maybe killed a lizard. It was maybe already dead. I hope. I was so sad. I took it outside to bury it. But as I took it outside, I'm looking at it well, it's. I've always wanted to pick up one of these lizards. It's dead. I could pick it up because I can't escape. And I could really look, and I'm standing there holding it. I was on a grass leaf. I'm just looking at it this is so into Eliza's face.
Oh no, I speak for the people, all of our faces. You want to touch a dead
that.
What grown woman is I've always wanted to touch one of these lizards?
It's just because I can now, but I feel it's how people feel about pimple pop videos, which make me feel sick and disgusted. But it's just that thing of I'm looking at it and it's here, and I buried it in the yard. So it's okay, and I'm fine, and that was great. Do we want to get the audience? Somebody do a top of the cob? Someone else?
This is your top of the cob that you picked up a dead animal and got to stare at it?
That I got to get a real close look.
Yeah. Okay. Were its eyes open?
No, and it had been on its back. So the last 2 nights ago, I took it outside and I flipped it onto its front. I didn't touch it and left it maybe it's playing dead and it'll run away. And today I ran outside to be did he leave because he's playing? No, he just was in rigor mortis. So then I took him to a nice spot and I buried him in leaves.
I don't I've just invested so much time with you, and so much
of this web show canceled now.
Okay, we'll just edit this out.
We gotta do an audience cob. Nope. Top of the cob. Yep. One.
We should. Tiny one. Yes. Yeah, you gotta come here. But I have to stand next to you.
Stand uncomfortably right in the middle.
She doesn't like the scarf. It's upsetting
John Fu will get mad.
She's like, I'm not taking it off here.
I'm so sorry. I feel like mine might be a little too wholesome. for this.
Good.
Well, anything after following Emily's weird death confession.
So my top of the cob, because I'm a basic white girl fall bitch, mine is a really lovely, like cleansing, cool air, deep breath. It makes me feel really happy.
So it's a cool cleanse. It's breathing?
Yeah. So like if if like the air outside is nice and cool, you take a deep breath of it and it burns just a little bit. That makes me feel really good. And that's my top of the cob.
Is that even if it's already been cold for a while, or just like, oh, it's been so hot in LA and now like today it was like the first cold day, hence your adorable scarf, right?
Yes.
So it has to be because it was hot, juxtaposed with heat, not like if you live in Alaska.
Actually, that is true because born and raised Massachusetts, so we know like cold. Thank you. So like we know cold. Like there's a difference between a nice cool deep breath, and there's a difference between like it gets in your bones and then you feel it and it burns you.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my top of the cob.
That's a great one. Do you want help up? She's like a deer. It was so she would like just naturally, it was like, I'll just pose. Like it would take every joint muscle, like strength in me to do that. Did you dance?
Yes.
Oh. I know a dancer because I train with a dancer for Pilates. And sometimes people ask me if I'm a dancer. And I lie. And I say I am. That was very dancery. Yeah, a crisp breath. But if it's too cold, it hurts your ears. You ever try running when it's cold? I did once. Never again. You ever try running?
I get my chest hurts when I run, so
Yeah.
I should. That's
You're like, and then I just find a dead animal to breathe in its life.
I give it CPR.
Like
so that's
Sanders sisters.
Sanderson
sisters.
Yeah. Time to wrap it up, Iliza. How you want to close out this YouTube web show,
folks? So this is the first episode of Ask Iliza Anything, the YouTube. This is the first episode of Ask Iliza Anything, the YouTube show, and we started doing this show because I think we have an incredibly special audience, and I think we have more audience out there to cull. This is the show where
Don't call them.
Call them. Call their questions.
Isn't that get rid of them?
I thought calling was when you gathered. Question in the middle of a... You're Googling it, and I'm right.
Yeah. Well, no, it's two. So the verb is select from a large quantity. The noun is a selective slaughter of wild animals. So
isn't that more your department, lizard lover? We've been doing Ask Iliza Anything. I think it's over 300 episodes. Isn't that right?
100% it's over. It's a 316 just came out.
316.
Yeah. So we've been doing this for a while. We've gotten a lot of requests to jump on the like elevated podcast bandwagon, and I thought that this show more than any show deserved a live audience, and so we are going to keep bringing these live episodes to you. They're live to tape, but with a live studio audience, and it is not possible without lovely people in our audiences, both male and female, like you guys. And please keep sending in those questions. Make sure to join the free, for now, Patreon. All right, you want to say that? Go, you do it.
No, I'm just saying, stop telling them it's free for now. It's free.
We all know there'll be a paywall one day. It's free.
Don't
Join the
tell
free.
them.
Okay, fine. We more and more are subscribe to our Patreon, and we more and more are picking questions from that. We always love your updates. We've created a very special community, and we love enjoying the problems. Enjoying is putting it weirdly, because some people have horrible things happen to them. We love escaping from our lives into the problems of others, and what makes us all human, and we love doing the show. So listen to Ask Iliza Anything wherever you purchase fine podcasts, and we hope you enjoyed this time with us. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Should I run out?
Are you leaving?
Song is so long. Should I outro Emily? Once again, we have Emily and Hot Scotty. So one more round of applause for them. You're okay.